To Brits living abroad, what were some culture shocks you experienced? Health insurance. Why do I have it if I still have to pay something every fucking time? UAE things being open practically all the time. Shops don't close at 4 to 5. And they're open on Sundays. Ramadan used to be a big exception as 10 years ago when I moved there. Basically everything shut. There were around 2 or 3 restaurants that were open in Abu Dhabi and every non-Muslim would go to eat there because there was nowhere else to eat out. Now it's a lot more released. But obviously you can't eat or drink in public during the day. You used to need an alcohol license. But that's recently changed. Lovely weather all year round. Bad treatment of South and Southeast Asian migrant workers. Haven't seen people being explicitly discriminatory. But there's a clear racial hierarchy, with locals at the top. Then Western immigrants with office jobs. Then immigrants with labor-intensive jobs who tend to be Afghan, Indian, Pakistani, etc. Lots of Filipinos tend to work at reception desks or as maids. The people on the lower end of the hierarchy tend to live in pretty small, cramped areas. Schools have to teach Arabic as a compulsory subject until year 11. Shocking teaching for it. Different world, to be honest. My trip to Rome. There is no silence. The sound in the air is noise from people excessively beeping their car horns. And nobody knows how to drive a car properly. Everyone is shouting over each other. The only obese people are the older generation. Their diet and whole attitude to food is a lot healthier than ours. They don't seem to have morals. When it comes to trying to rip off tourists, they will play into your own country's customs when coercing you into buying things. Like, you ask for a glass of water and they bring you bottled and charge you €4. You specify that you didn't ask for bottled. But they know you'll be too deep into the atmosphere of the holiday experience to kick up a fuss and ruin your night. They are experts at arguing, so they will happily shout until you back down. The trains are surprisingly reliable and clean. Seems to be a trend with most European metropolitan cities. It's a sign that the tube in the UK is dirty and poor simply because it's overcapacity. Shopping in supermarkets. The food and drinks are very reasonably priced. About the same as the UK once you convert it into euros. I was shocked at how expensive drugs are in Australia. A gram of coke was like $300. In NYC I can get like an quarter ounce for that price. Groceries beginning delivered next day is pretty normal in the UK now. Get this right, in Brazil people smile and they have this strange light in the sky. That Brits are arrogant assholes and think that their living circumstances are the norm and have complete disregard of country traditions and lifestyle. Anyone thinks that the living circumstances in their country are the norm. It's the key driver behind the concept of foreign. I'm an immigrant to Iceland and every foreign person I know behave the same and everyone has different issues adapting to culture here. It's perfectly normal and it's not a disregard. You need to take a breather, friend. Sydney. Beautiful weather. Polite bus drivers who say good morning. Everywhere has air conditioning. All trains, buses, offices, shops. Truly incredible seafood in every restaurant. Going to work by boat and seeing a whale in my morning commute. Wow, I had a different experience living in Sydney. I don't recall one bus driver even saying hello in my 3 years there. Everyone's just miserable when working. Generalization. Only loosening up once work had finished. Moved to Queensland and it's a whole different place. Good mornings from everyone as you walk by. A wave from car drivers as they stop to let you cross. Friendly and chatty people in hospitality. Never going back to Sydney again. My friend did the exact same move and found the same. Interesting how different experiences can be. Brit. In France. Cons. Continuously surprised by the insane levels of bureaucracy. 0.99% of French websites are shockingly bad. Anyone in most shops not being remotely helpful. People parking wherever the feck they like, even if it inconveniences large swathes of society. The it's not my job mentality. Ross. People otherwise are genuinely pleasant and helpful. The cost of living is lower. The standard of living is higher. On balance, a pretty decent place to live. And for anyone wondering, I do speak quite good French. If you get shit in France for not being French, I would say it's mostly because you're not trying hard enough with the French language. Was I Thailand? Now Singapore, Thailand, nothing fucking works. It is all so arse backwards. Inefficient and terrible for the consumer. Corruption is flagrant and endemic, and one of the reasons nothing works well, public infrastructure is basically non-existent, full of disgusting sexpats. The Thais have a phrase for them that translates as bird shit foreigners. There are giant piles of rubbish absolutely everywhere. Fly tipping is rampant. There are so many aggressive stray dogs. It's a real menace. Singapore. Singlish is hilarious. Not in a mocking way. It just entertains me no end the way people speak here. Everything works better than in UK. There is a clear old and conservative versus young and progressive thing going on. This appears to be in full swing across a lot of Asia though. Couldn't pay me to come back to the UK right now though. I love Asia so much. It's like my spiritual home. Slippers in the bathroom. Please expand this statement. Like, I've not heard of any British etiquette that we wear or don't wear slippers in the bathroom. I don't wear slippers, but if I did, I'd wear them in the bathroom. Is it more that they do something specifically different to do with slippers? I used to live in Spain. However, I have since moved back. The buses. You can't rely on them at all. Their arrival times are generally within half an hour of what it says. So it's unlikely that you'll be able to very often. Also, I was once waiting for a bus. And it didn't even arrive. After 2 hours of waiting, I went to ask. And apparently it was running really late. They didn't put a sign up. Or anything. To say that it was really latex, and they didn't have a different bus to use instead of the late one. Moved from a Celtic fringe to the deep South Bible Belt. I've been here 26 years and I still feel like I'm in culture shock. And GT, room salons of all varieties. Hostess bars where you drink crappy whiskey, sing karaoke and have sex with prostitutes. No wonder karaoke is so popular. Connection between the brawling and the prostitutes. I lived in China and all those points were true there. Also, there was a part of the city called Chocolate Town. You'll never guess why. And GT having to carry ID at all times or face arrest. That's true in a literal sense. But in 8 years of living here, I've never even spoken to a police officer, let alone had my ID checked on the street. England to Czech Republic. Czechia. Beer is cheap, but not in the center, not very multicultural, and therefore racism is still very common. Women don't wear much, any makeup, as they're naturally very good looking. Fashion is at least 10 years behind England. Lots of beige food. Czechs are very outdoorsy, leading to parks being full of people doing anything from yoga, meditation, fantasy battles, P-tank, pretty much everything. Everyone speaks good English if they're below the age of 40. In restaurants, the staff take your plate as soon as you finish. They don't wait for everyone else. Lots of sex shops. Erotic city, check customer services. Straight to the point with little to small talk. So much graffiti, the roads aren't smooth. Especially the cobbles. Skodas everywhere. Everyone uses public transport. When a car uses its horn, nobody really cares. In the UK, all hell breaks loose if someone does. There are loads more. But here's a starter. Best 5 years of my life living in rag. Cozy Ven.